Hello friends, welcome back. It's time for BigDenoPlays Earthborne Rangers, the sequel. Yes. The expansion Legacy of the Ancestors arrived here in Australia for me. I was like right at the very end of delivery, so people have had this for months and I've just been waiting patiently, and that's something you get pretty good at when you back a few Kickstarter games. I think patience is a wonderful skill to have cultivated. But it's arrived and we get to dive back into this wonderful world. I did a full playthrough, which you can find on the channel. I will maybe even do something magical, like link it in the description, because I'm an excellent YouTuber. That is 100% for sure. I actually rewatched an episode or a bit of that to just remind myself of how I'd set it up, and I realised we have had a pretty big improvement in terms of picture quality and what we were doing back then to now. So, baby steps, but we'll get there eventually. So we're taking the same character. So the character that we took in our first campaign is a prodigy of the floating tower. His name was Big Dog McBigDog. I don't know why I called him that, but I did. There you go. It's good stuff. And we're going to play through the story. So I've got a copy of my previous campaign sheet that we'll refer to. I'll bring that up on screen a little bit later on. But in the meantime, we're going to use this for our tracking sheet in the playthrough. If I bring it up properly. There it is. So this is the tracking sheet that we're going to use for this campaign. And yeah, that's pretty exciting. We're also going to use this for the story, like I did in the last campaign. So pretty cool. And let's get. I've got me beverage here. I had some chili tonight. Absolutely knocked my socks off. Because we need to do some reading, and we will commence the story of Legacy of the Ancestors. I'll tell you, Big Dog's a traveller shaper. 3 awareness, 2 fitness, 2 spirit, 1 focus. And we've got some reward cards in there, and I did a little cheeky, I added a couple of the new cards from the expansion modules in there as well. So it's got a pretty cool deck. We'll go through it when we get there. So, but let's get ready for reading now. I don't recall what I did over here, but maybe we'll do the reading over on this screen. Does that work? Yes, so this is the valley map, the abbreviated valley map. I've also got this, which is a giant fold-out map, which I paid, I don't know, $10 for, and it's just too big for use. But it's got all little stories and stuff on it, which is cool. So I'm going to read through those when I get to them. But look at the size of it; it's gigantic, which is pretty awesome, actually. Yes, but we'll do some reading over here, and let's bring up the story. Should work. There we go. Look at that. Wonderful work, Deno. All right, the story so far. You've come to the end of a long day's journey. Your legs ache, yet you feel invigorated. A light breeze rustles your cloak and cools the perspiration on your skin. You take a deep, full breath. Crisp mountain air fills your lungs, and you feel it all the way down to the soles of your feet. You exhale and taste the sweetness of the air on your tongue. On this day, you're returning home after a weeks-long patrol of the Northern Pass. The hour is late, and the shadow of Atrox Mountain stretches out before you, reaching eastward across the valley's many forests, lakes, and streams. As evening deepens, the song of frogs and chirping insects rises from the grasslands. Your path has led you out of the mountains and down to the foothills of Atrox Mountain, where tall trees now stand on all sides, and the air is rich with the smell of pine and loamy earth. In the distance, you see a welcome sight. Visible for miles, even in the failing light, Lone Tree Station stands out against the evening sky. The sight of your home fills you with relief. After weeks on patrol, you are eager to get a warm meal and a good night's rest. You hear the distant sound of laughter and merrymaking on the wind. The sun dips below the mountains, painting the clouds in a rich vermilion. The leaves of Lone Tree glitter in the evening light, and you smell rain on the air. Very, very exciting to be back at Lone Tree Station. If you've already completed the first campaign we have, go to entry 1. To set up the campaign, perform the first 4 steps of setup and return here for the remainder of setup. So I think I've got my rulebook here. I haven't played much at all, actually. I did whip it out and play a little mission a few months ago of this, but I'm going to, yeah, they do little one-day missions on their website. So I think I pulled it out and did one of those. Probably about 2 months ago, I played an Artisan Artificer, which was cool. All right, set up player areas, draw starting hand, elect the lead ranger, and shuffle the challenge deck. So we can do that. Let's go back over here. So we will look at our starting hand. That's exciting. If we can shuffle it all. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I definitely want to keep this Ironwool Cap. So this Ironwool Cap is a new card that came in the expansion. And I didn't have this in my previous playthrough. So that's such a cool ability to reduce a moment's cost down to 1. So what I sort of tried to do is look for moments that were cost 2. And a lot of my spells, my manifestations, are actually cost 2. So that's good. So we're happy with that. We'll definitely keep the Ironwool Cap. I've also got Grell's Secret Map, and that is something new as well, which we'll talk about in a second. But I'm going to keep that. I like all of these, actually, but maybe not Shape the Earth. Yeah, we can get Shape the Earth at a later stage. So Skywhip's good for clearing people with damage. This is even better for clearing things with damage, and is also good for biomelds, which there is one in there. So Eagle Eye, even better. Even better. So we'll shuffle that, and our deck is done. And I'll bring these down here. So I'm going to try and play my cards down here. I have the ability to zoom in, and except for over here, they're mostly okay. But yeah. And we've obviously got our cards that are along the way within reach, and then our play areas over here. So, whew. All right, let's get back to reading. Yeah, so I needed to do that. I needed to shuffle the challenge deck. And the path deck, which may or may not have been pre-prepared. But yeah, actually, let's talk about this. So, they also added another type of card into the game, which is called an aspiration. And so this is an aspiration from Grell's Secret Map. And I'll let you read through that story. I read it before. So I think what it's going to do is unlock a reward card, because I've also got a aspiration complete part of this. But yeah, so we need to record 6 hunches to complete this aspiration. So we'll come back to what hunches are and how they work when we play Grell's map and do some other things. Nonetheless, you wake with the dawn, the unmistakable aroma of High Pimpot's pancakes. I missed High Pimpot's pancakes. Rouses you from your slumber. Birdsong drifts through the open window, and you raise your head to see the first rays of sunlight peek over Mount Nim. As a ranger, you've grown accustomed to sleeping under the stars, but every once in a while, it's nice to sleep in a comfortable bed, sheltered from the elements. I may have already put Lone Tree Station into play in the surroundings. We've done that already, but we'll do some other stuff later on. As you lie snug and warm, you recall a portion of the dream you had last night. You were in a dark cave, your surroundings barely illuminated. You remember the stillness of the air and the sound of a trickling stream. There was a being there with you, cloaked in shadow. As the light crawled slowly over its form, revealing it bit by bit, it turned its head toward you. A head like a many-petaled flower, grinning in a fashion that filled you with a deep unease. Your memory of the dream fades as you climb out of bed and remember that you have an early meeting with Elder Thrush. You dress quickly and head straight to the kitchen for breakfast. You know from past experience that if you don't hurry, the pancakes will all be eaten and you'll have to settle for sunberry mash and cream. You pull on your tunic, step onto the balcony, and notice a darkened sky to the south. After several weeks of nearly perfect weather, heavily laden clouds have swept up from the Verdessa. It begins to rain. We'll go back over here. So, yep, Lone Tree Station is in the surroundings. We'll do that the second. And we've got a downfall. And guess what else I got? I got the special wooden dice and these little tokens. These feel really nice. I don't know if they're worth the amount that I paid for them because I got 2 sets. Just in case I want to play 2-player sometime, but also because they're just really nice. And occasionally you get 4 of a attribute, energy. But yeah, so the little dice, I'm really happy with them, tracking with them. That's going to be great. We've got dice for progress. We've got dice for harm. And this dice, which is the generic tracking dice. So I'm actually happy that I've got spares of those, extras of those. So excellent. The downpour weather is in play, and it starts with 4 clouds, 4 rain. Back to here. You weave your way through the covered stairways of Lone Tree Station, and as you reach Elder Thrush's ready room, your ears are filled with the rolling thrum of raindrops pelting the roof. Elder Thrush stands at the far end of a circular table that dominates the centre of the room. Carved from the trunk of a jigger redwood slain by lightning, the table bears faint scorch marks beneath a generous coat of lacquer. In the centre of the table sits a marvellous piece of technology, a multi-hued map of kinetic glass, large enough to depict the entire valley. With a gesture from Elder Thrush, the surface of the valley lifts, revealing partially mapped passageways in the ground below. Spirit Speaker Nal and Ben Amon are there as well, speaking quietly to each other. As you enter, they sit at attention. Elder Thrush studies the shimmering map for a moment, then gestures for you to take a seat across from her. Good morning, she says in a friendly, no-nonsense tone. I trust you slept well last night? I know that you were looking forward to some extended free time after your long patrol, but the people of the valley are in need once again. You sit up a little straighter. Do you know Solaro Marco? I do. I remember him very fondly. Crazy old bat. He was a legend. You tell Elder Thrush that you are familiar with the valley's foremost archaeologist and enthusiast of Estian lore. You may not have felt it since you were patrolling the northern pass, but while you were gone, there was a tremor near Spire. It was barely perceptible here at the station, and it did not last more than a few moments, but there are many who believe it was an event of great importance. Solaro Marco is one of them. He believes that something has shifted deep within the arcology ruin, and he's eager to investigate. A few days ago, he approached the Council of Elders with a proposal. He wants to lead an expedition into the depths of the arcology to discover the source of the tremor. Elder, says Benamon, raising a finger, if I may, Solaro's theory is well founded in historical fact. Long ago, when the valley was first settled by our ancestors, there was a tremor not unlike this one. Our ancestors already knew of the arcology ruin beneath Spire, but after the tremor, Sal Orlin, Elder Orlin's father, discovered that a passage had opened near the surface. Ben Amon gestures towards the map and the kinetic shards reform. To show a detailed view of the arcology threshold, a passage within leads to a spiral staircase set inside a deep chimney, a narrow vertical chasm, plunging far below the surface. He went in not knowing what awaited him, and he returned with the carbon forge, the most valuable piece of technology we have today. I have no doubt that Solaro hopes to find another doorway has opened somewhere in the ruin, and that behind lies an equally important discovery. Spirit Speaker Nal nods in agreement. There may be another element to this as well. Shortly after the Reclaimers came and went, I felt the arcology stir. It's agitated. It has the energy of a scroff-tousled anthill, like it's been startled awake after a centuries-long slumber. I've never been so aware of the life forms underground, or of the arcology itself. This tremor is no coincidence. There is still much that we do not understand about the Estians, says Benamon. Perhaps the presence of the Reclaimers caused an ancient failsafe to be triggered deep within the ruin, for there are many such cautionary tales concerning the relics of the ancestors and the dangers they pose to the unwary. It would be wise to temper our curiosity with caution. Agreed, says Elder Thrush. It's been 5 years since the last expedition. Perhaps Calypso spoke of it during your training. It was to be a simple excursion to Orlin's vault, but tragedy must have befallen them, for none from the expedition was seen again. She shakes her head. I recommended against this new expedition at the council, but I found myself in the minority. I did agree, however, that it would be wise to send rangers. This is where you come in. You are to aid Solaro and the rest of the expedition in whatever way you can, and of course, you are to see to it that everyone returns alive and unharmed. She gestures, and with the crystalline tinkling of thousands of shards of glass, the glittering map of the valley reforms, taking the shape of Spire. The easiest method with which you may descend into the arcology is by way of the arcology threshold in the village of Spire. However, she gestures again, and the map of the valley returns, with certain areas marked by spinning golden flecks. There are numerous sinkholes and other entrances to the arcology scattered throughout the valley as well. The route you take is up to you. Gain the descent mission. And guess what? Here's one I prepared earlier. Here it is. You must journey into the dark to lend aid to Solaro's expedition. You can either descend to the chimney from the arcology threshold or find an arcology sinkhole and descend from there. Once at the chimney, you'll need to find and talk to Solaro. Once we arrive at the chimney, that is it. All right. We have the descent mission. May the spirit of the valley guide and protect you, she says. With that, Elder Thrush calls an end to this meeting and sends you on her way. Complete setup by finishing steps 8, 9, and 10 of page 11 of the rulebook using the Woods Terrain set for step 8. The path opens before you. Where you go from here is entirely up to you. Get excited. All right, so in here we have a Moments on the Path. So this is a Moments on the Path expansion. So I randomly grabbed one of these cards and I have shuffled it into this deck along with the Woods and along with the Lone Tree Station cards. So our goal is to get to the chimney in Spire. Now, when we have knowledge of this game, it's when you start to really see the game come alive. And one of the things that you learn about this game is that there is a aeroplane on top of Lone Tree Station that we can fly. Ben Armand can take us on an aeroplane. Fly away. So we're going to try and find the aeroplane and jump on it and go to Spire. Great. So here's the map. Here's us at Lone Tree Station. The other way we could go to Boulder Field, Cobo's Market, and then to Spire. That's not too bad. To do that, we could definitely do that in the first day, but I think we'll try and find the boat, especially because we have Eagle Eye, which allows us to fly through the deck. Okay? Okay, I think we're ready to begin. Actually, I do have something I have to do with the general set, I think. Campaign tracker, the Valley set. Ah yes, you have to remove cards from the Valley set. If you've completed, yeah, okay. Cool. So, that is good. I might bring up my... So, yeah, okay, fine. Cool. So we've got our starting cards. Yep, okay, so let's search the path deck for the next predator and discard it. The lead ranger, draw one path card. Spirit Speaker Null. A moment. Sitka Buck. Oh, that's what we want. A Sitka Doe. Sunberry Bramble. A Prowling Woolhund. Alright, so that's discarded. And then we shuffle this, and then we're going to draw one path card. And hopefully it's the topside mast. It is a Sitka Doe. So that is going to come within reach. A little Sitka Doe. Very nice. All right. So we are able to flip this now. And to start our turn, we draw a new path card. Here it is. Hi, Pimpot. Hello, Hi, Pimpot. You friendly guy. So when Hi Pimpot comes into play, he also comes into play within reach. We will go and read Hi Pimpot's story because it is going to be different to the other version. So let's bring that up. Hi Pimpot, what number are you? 47. Enters play. We've not sampled a new recipe, so we're going to go to 47.2. The rich aroma of meaty smoke fills your nostrils as you come up a staircase and find Hi Pimpot on his balcony. Long strips of Sitka deer meat have been stretched across a drying rack, and below it, a low smouldering fire sends up pungent clouds to slowly smoke the meat into preserved jerky. He's carefully flipping one of the strips of meat when he sees you. He waves and then gives you a mock scowl. Well, well, I know what you've come around for, he says, but the jerky isn't ready yet. You'll have to come back later, you bunch of hungry scroffs. He waves his finger in admonishment, and you can't help but burst out laughing at his comically exaggerated gesture. We can help High Pimpot by gathering ingredients for his traditional stew, or we can clear him with progress to ask if he has any new recipes. We might clear him with progress, we'll see. Let's have a look. All right. We're ready to go. Oh, this is exciting. Okay, so these are my cards. I've got Eagle Eye, which is great. I've got Grell's Secret Map, which is great. I've got an Iron Wool Cap, which is perfect. So let's do the following. We're going to play the Iron Wool Cap. It costs us 1 focus. We only have 1 focus, so we play that. It has 4 uses, and that's we can exhaust it to use an insight before you play a moment, reduce its cost by 1 to a minimum of 1. We don't have any 2-cost moments, but it's good to have that out early, I think. Let's play an Eagle Eye. So we're going to scout 3 path cards and then draw 1 path card. So we're trying to find the thing. Cordo, Ranger Veteran, Hanging Gardens, oh, they're not too bad, and an Overgrown Thicket. That's an obstacle. We don't want that. Do we want these? You can eat them and heal an injury. No, that's fine. So we'll put all 3 of those in the bottom and hope we don't come up against a hungry clicker. Spirit Speaker Gnarl! We found her as well. What are you doing, Spirit Speaker Gnarl? Let's find out what she's up to. All right. So back here, she is number 45. You find Spirit Speaker Gnarl sitting in quiet contemplation with a small gazebo in one of Lone Tree's many gardens, her legs crossed and her eyes closed. She doesn't stir as you approach, but when you call out to her in greeting, her eyes flutter open. Oh, hello, she says with a wan smile. Give me just a moment. She cocks her head to the side, as if she's listening to someone. Clear her with progress to ask more about the presence she's sensed in the arcology. Yeah, I'd probably like to do that, actually. That seems like it could be interesting. Okay, so Eagle Eye goes into our discard pile, and that's all. So I could play Grell's Secret Map, and I think we will do that. Yes, and that costs us 1 fitness. So now that we've got this, basically, when a feature with 2 or more presents is cleared, add 1 hunch to this gear and 1 progress to the location. So this is us finding stuff along the way. So it's pretty cool and in keeping with our character, who's a traveller. It has 0 hunches thus far. We're going to try and evade the Sitka-Do, dodge them, avoid them. So it has a presence of 1. I'm going to spend 2 awareness, 2 green stuff. So we get a 0, which means we successfully dodge the Sitka-Do. There is no blue effects in play, so that is it. I think we will try a connect test with Spirit Speaker Gnarl. We need 3 progress on her to clear her. So we've got a 0, but this is going to trigger now. So that says discard 1 rain from this card. Each ranger suffers 1 fatigue. If there is no rain remaining, flip this card. That's where our fatigue goes. All right, so we put 2 progress on her, that's all. Because we expended 2 efforts. Oh, you know what, actually? Let's pretend I'm not a pus bucket. I'm going to use this, and I'm going to discard it, and then I'm going to use my Prodigy of the Floating Tower ability. This is my marker to say that I am exhausted, not exhausted. I suppose we can do that, that's all right. Bit tricky. Yep, so we've exhausted our roll, and that is so that we can bring this back into our hand. I've got to remember that. That's my cool little trick with him, the Prodigy of the Floating Tower. Excellent, so we've actually got 3 progress on her, which means we can clear her. So we've cleared her with progress to find out more about what she was doing. No, she was talking to someone. Clear with progress, 45.5. Do you remember how I spoke of this presence I felt during our meeting with Elder Thrush? The stirring unease of some indefinable presence within the arcology. I've been attempting to reach it with no avail. However, I think that I may have a solution. Greenbrier Knoll. It is a place of great power. Were we to go there, I should be able to harness that power and, with the help of the spirits, use it to penetrate whatever barrier stands between me and the elusive presence. Do you have time to accompany me to Greenbrier Knoll? I would certainly appreciate the company. Sorry, Nell. Greenbrier Knoll gives me the creeps. So we would have to go past Spire. We could fly there, I suppose, with Ben Arm on, and then go back up to here. That could be okay. Sure. Let's do it. Let's attach Helping Hand to Spirit Speaker Nal. And guess what? Here's one I prepared earlier. Helping Hand. So Spirit Speaker Nal, we're going to try and help her out. We have to take her to Greenbrier Knoll. Okay. Excellent. So I have one fitness left. If I flip a -1 on fitness, I would fail on a traverse test. And when you fail a traverse test, you suffer an injury. So I don't think we want to do that. I don't need to play Touch of the Verdessa, so I think we're going to end our turn there. So we're going to get all of our energy back. We're going to refresh our roll. Unfortunately, the Sitka Doe is going to refresh as well. We're going to draw a card. Oh, it's quiet. That's awesome. So quiet can go chomping people. Yeah, that's cool. All right, and now at the start of the next turn, we draw a path card. Be Ben's thing. No, it's an overgrown thicket. It's an obstacle. It goes along the way. And what can we do about that? We can hunt our way through the dense foliage to add progress to this feature equal to your efforts. Okay, that is a Flora, so my Touch of the Verdessa will work to add damage. Alternatively, we just use Quiet or the Sky Whip to add harm to a being equal to your efforts. I don't really want to use my Stave's manifestation as yet, because I think it would be good to build up a few before we do that. So, alright, well I think we'll just bring Quiet into play. We'll spend 2 fitness to bring Quiet. Actually comes in along within reach. He doesn't come into our area, but we'll just put him here because we know that's the case. I might remember who you are. So we're going to scout ranger cards equal to our efforts. We flip a 0 and a sunlight. Okay, so the test is correct. So we're going to scout 1 card. It's Quiet again. So we'll put Quiet on the bottom and draw 1 ranger card. Eagle Eye, excellent. And then we'll do this. So we're going to have this drop down to 2. And that means we fatigue. And this, if there's 1 or more Sitka bucks in play, there's not any Sitka bucks in play. So that is all. I'm going to use Quiet. We're going to exhaust Quiet. And we're going to eat the Sitka dough for breakfast. Nom 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 nom. And we add 1 harm to Quiet after doing that. I reckon we'll play Eagle Eye. It's another moment. And that will let us scout 3 path cards and then draw 1 path card. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3. What have we got? Topside mast! Alright, do I want some sunberry brambles to soothe some fatigue? Yep, so what I'm going to do is we're going to do it in this order, like so. Yep. And then we're going to draw a path card. And what do you know? It's the topside mast. Let's go read number 42. I love this game. I'm really happy to be playing this again. And just play. High atop Lone Tree Station, you see the familiar gleam of the Swift's hull, perched on the series of circular platforms of polished wood and forged carbon. As you look at the airship, you feel a surge of excitement. You remember the feeling of exhilaration on your first flight all those months ago as the Swift launched high into the air. Then, the tranquility as its wings unfurled and the glider soundlessly soared towards the horizon, steadily descending as it flew en route to its destination. Working away on the airship, you see none other than Benamon, making adjustments to the Swift's launching mechanisms. A small group of apprentice artificers gather round to watch a master at work. Clear topside mast with your token to take the Swift for a ride. I've gone the wrong button. There we go. Okay, so topside mast is here. We need to get our token on there. So, oh, that's right. We need to spend focus to do that. Damn. Focus plus heart. Convince 3 to move. Yeah, okay. We need to do a little bit of convincing here to get up there. That's okay. That's okay. So quiet's done. So we probably do want to try and clear some of this overgrown thicket off. Now when we use this, when a feature with 2 or more presents is cleared, no, we don't get any benefit from that. Okay, so it's just awareness, plus we can discard this touch of the Verdessa to clear that with harm. So we'll spend 2 awareness and the touch of the Verdessa, and that's going to get us, oh, it's a green, plus 2, plus another 1 is 4, equal to our effort. So we are going to clear the overgrown thicket before we have to trigger its effect. Nothing, nothing. We're friendly here, so we don't get fatigued by going through that. And that is all. We're then going to exhaust our roll to bring Touch of the Verdessa back into our hand. Okay, we might as well try and connect with High Pimpot using our remaining 2 stuff, because that'll let him give us some fatigue back. So we'll do a connect test, and also we want to try and get our glints up by cycling through this deck. So we get a total of 2, and we need 2 progress to clear High Pimpot. I think that means that we will have clear with progress, 47.7. As High presses several swamp berry syrup candies into your hand, you ask what new recipes he's been experimenting with. He smiles. Well, I have to admit that ever since Solaro started going on about his great expedition into the arcology, it's got me thinking about all the mushrooms that must be down there. The fungi you can find up here in the valley are just fine, of course, but think of all the different species you could find down in those tunnels. Why, I bet I could make a stew entirely out of mushrooms, and it would be the best thing you've ever tasted. You agree that it could be possible, and speak of other things. However, this idea is clearly hooked high. Finally, he looks up at you, his eyes clear and bright. You know, I don't think I can pass up this opportunity. Would you accompany me down to the arcology so I can make for you the greatest mushroom stew ever created? Some other time, High. We'll discard him and we'll soothe to fatigue. Thanks, buddy. All right, a circuitous route. And seen through cycles, nice. Do we get any hearts? No hearts, just Throng of Life. Okie dokie. So that's going to be our turn. So we are going to go to rest, regenerate, recover that. Quiet's going to recover as well. Good work, little Quiet. And we draw a Ranger card. We draw Light as a Feather. Good. And what is this? Is it a Sunbury Bramble? It is. It is, you say? Tremendous. All right, well. So if we pluck the Sunbury Bramble, that would be nice. And we can use pluck 2. We can probably afford not to use this. Add a harm to this feature and soothe 2 fatigue. We don't need to do that. So let's actually just try and avoid. Oh no, that's a being. All right, it's gonna fatigue us, so that's okay. We're gonna do a topside mast focus test. We're gonna discard Throng of Life. We're gonna discard our focus, and we need to convince them. We need more hearts actually, because this needs to be a +1. This is probably a bad plan. That's fine. It's a 0. So we don't successfully do that test, unfortunately. So we're going to have to try again next turn. But we will exhaust our roll and take Throng of Life back into hand. We do fatigue 1, and then we fatigue another 1 because of that Sunberry Bramble. Speaking of the Sunberry Bramble, let's eat some brambles. I'm going to spend 3 fatigue, or 3 awareness, I should say, to attempt that. We get a -1, but that's actually still a pass. So we're going to add a harm to this Sunberry Bramble. Nom, 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 nom. And then we soothe 2 fatigue. Come into my hands. Okay. I don't think we need to do anything at the moment. It's a Moment Wisdom, Circuitous Route. When you would draw a path card, this is one of the new ones. Cool. Throng of Life. Oh, that's right, I can use that. I just can't combo it. I think I remember this from last time. I've always had so much difficulty getting onto the helicopter. So much difficulty. Because I've got this manifestation, which is when a ranger draws a challenge card during a test, choose which modifier to use from that card, then choose an additional challenge icon to resolve for this test. The problem is that to play this, I need to spend a focus, and to do this test, I need to spend a focus, and I've only got 1 focus. So I can't dodgy my way out of this test. I need some more hearts in my deck, I think. I don't think I've got any other way of getting to there. So I don't need to connect with that. That is a feature, so I can traverse it. Yep, so we will traverse this little Sunberry Bramble. So we are going to put 2 progress on the Sunberry Bramble, which is fine. And then we're going to do reds. There's no reds, and so we'll just rest at this point. We're going to draw a card. Seal Sketchbook, 2 hearts, yes. We got 2 strong hearts, reaching out together like a honey and the bee. All right, this should be the one. And this is, oh look, it's a Sitka buck. That's okay, I've got a plan for you, Sitka buck. This Iron Wool Cap is doing us not much good right now. So I am going to use Touch of the Verdessa. We're in the next turn. I've drawn my path card, I've drawn my thing. So this is a manifestation, so I'm discarding my scepter. I get to add 1 to a flora, which is this, and add 4 progress or 4 harm to a path card. So I'm going to add 1 to this, which clears the Sunberry Brambles, and then I'm going to add 4 to this, which clears them. So both of those clear, thanks to my Touch of the Verdessa. Great spell. Guess what I'm going to do then? I'm going to exhaust my roll card to bring that back into my hand. I'm then going to do a focus test, which is going to discard Sill's Sketchbook and this Throng of Life, which means I've got a total of 4, so unless we flip a -2, I don't know why I just said that. Oh, we're okay. So we've managed to put our character token there, and we're going to clear it with that, which is going to put us at 42 on this app reader thing. 42. Topside mast, clear. Ben Armon hops into the pilot's seat with a grin on his face. Strap in, he says, lowering a pair of goggles over his eyes. You've always been good at convincing the crew. Also a lie, Ben. He says with a smile as he flips a series of switches and you feel the Swift come to life. But I needed no convincing to show off these new enhancements I've been adding. You may immediately proceed to the travel phase and travel to any location on the valley map except for Headwaters Station. Use the terrain type of the last valley card you explored. So we are here up at Lone Tree Station and we're going to fly down to Greenbrier Knoll. And that's it. So we're travelling straight away. How fun! Okay, so we're using the same deck as we had before. So that is not High Pimpot, not the Hanging Gardens, not that Moment on the Path. These cards, so these pivotal location cards go back here. And is Greenbrier Knoll a pivotal? It is not. Okay, so that means we can prepare these valley cards. So some of these valley cards, these are both discarded by the way. So when we travel, this recovers. We are going to have these. I've got these. I draw this. We gain that. Excellent. When you travel, ready this gear. That doesn't help us. Okay, so I need to remove some of these cards for this campaign. This campaign wants us to remove these cards. Quizzy Voss, Oraskal, Ben Armon, Swift Pilot. I don't need Quiet. I still need Umbra. Fundamentalist. There he is, Ben Armon. You're not in this one anymore, mate. You're downstairs. Silberlei the Artist. And Tyler the Red Exile. She's gone as well. Okay, so these are all removed from that set for the extent of this game. Campaign thing. Not sure where to put them. Maybe I'll put them here. Okay. Excellent. So when we're doing a non-pivotal location, you draw 3 of these cards. 1, 2, 3. And we'll pop these up here as well. As always, I've got my excellent little card holders in front of me that makes my life significantly easier. Okay, and we've also got these moments on the path. So we saw one before, but we were just scouting, so we didn't read it. But yeah, we'll take that. And these are just little one-time things that occur that could be positive, could be negative. I don't know. I haven't actually read any of them. How exciting! All right, and we need to grab Greenbrier Knoll's location, which is excellent. I think I did these off camera last time. Greenbrier Knoll. Okay, now I forget how to help her get to Greenbrier Knoll. There's Lone Tree Station. It's good to be back. Lead Ranger, draw 1 challenge card and do the following based on that card. So I'm going to draw this. It is a mountain. Draw a path card. Okay, so I've shuffled that. The path card we draw is Old Bloody Clicker. That's a bit dangerous. So he's going to move along the way. Promising start. And we'll need to read him, won't we? 71. What is Old Bloody Clicker doing in this one? You pause as you hear a faint sound, not even daring to breathe. You strain your ears, and in the distance you hear a click, 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 like metal shards dropping one by one onto a piece of glass. You wait, and the clicking subsides. With a shudder, you let out your breath and take a step, only to jump away as the ground collapses right in front of you. A huge spindle scuttler, all shiny brown carapace, slicing mandibles, and hundreds of legs rears above you. Good start. Let's just go quickly read what we're doing with the Spirit Speaker Null. So we've done that. We're going to flip over Greenbrier Knoll and we're going to read 24. And that's it. 24, Greenbrier Knoll. The head-high grass makes it impossible to spot the knoll until the ground slopes upward and you begin to climb a gentle grade. As you finish your ascent, you find yourself on a hilltop. At the summit, you find a dais of time-worn and lichen-crusted stone with narrow threads of metal woven through it. You can see the dulled and patinated threads form distinct patterns, the mark of the Estians. Spirit Speaker Null's in play. She is! Alright. Null strides to the centre of the knoll with a surety of purpose. She shakes a carbon-forged rattle and calls upon the 7 directions, the spirit of the elements, and the spirit of the valley. She kneels and traces her hands lightly over the chiselled threads in the stone, and she places her hands lightly upon it, sits and closes her eyes. You set aside her pack and sit quietly across from her while Old Bloody Clicker's tromping in the background. She speaks, her voice carrying an almost dreamlike quality. Interesting, she says. I can sense the presence from before, but it remains elusive. But there are others, 3 specifically, the spirits of Estians, bound to their former lives, unable or unwilling to cross over. I see 3 of them, and all are in need of assistance, though they might resist. The sun moves steadily across the sky, and eventually Null opens her eyes. There is nothing I can do for them here, unfortunately, she says. I tried, but there is still something standing between us, something that doesn't appreciate me snooping around in the arcology. I'm unsure of what or who it could be. You hand her your canteen and she smiles in thanks. You know, if you happen across these spirits while you're exploring the arcology, you may be able to communicate with them, and if you feel up to it, you may even be able to help them come to terms with their deaths, so they can finally be at peace. Then maybe they'll be willing to cross over. Gain Echoes of the Estians reward card. It's our first reward card in day 1. How good's that? Record Learned of the Lost in the campaign tracker. What is it? Echoes of the Estians. I had a bad track record at the start of this where I was just, oh yeah, I can use it, it's 1 focus, excellent. Where I kept drawing cards that I couldn't use for a long time. And that was pretty annoying. But this looks like we can use it. Let's have a look at Echoes of the Estians. Alright, attached to a path card, very cool. When a ranger performs a test that interacts with the attached, commit to effort. This test can be performed without committing energy. Interesting. Alright, that goes into our available pool. We can't swap that into our deck just yet. So Spirit Speaker Null clears, and she goes back into the deck. I'm pretty sure that's what happens. Yes, discard Null and return Helping Hand to the collection. Record Learned of the Lost on the campaign tracker. Alright. So where are we going to do this? Missions. Add note. Learned of the Lost. Tick. Good. Okay, that's fine. That's a good little tracker. Alright, so at the start of the day, we actually have to flip this as well. So, we found a Prowling Woolhund. So we've got Old Bloody Clicker and a Prowling Woolhund standing before us, and our desire to get to Spire. This was an awful plan, but maybe we can do something about it. We need to be able to get a glint on here. So let's try, if we flip that, yeah, let's try. We're going to exhaust Old Bloody Clicker, attempt to avoid Old Bloody Clicker, I should say. And that requires using a, so we're going to discard Circuitous Route, add 3 harm to a being and harm to quiet equal to that harm's present. So I'm going to lose quiet if I go trying to pop him off. Yep, okay. So we're going to exhaust the Old Bloody Clicker. We suffer an injury if we don't exhaust him. And we're discarding that. So our total effort is 4. We need to not see a -2. We see a +1 instead. So that means Old Bloody Clicker is exhausted. We take 2 fatigue. 1, 2. I cannot... have I missed one? The only weakness of this deck is it just needs these cards to just constantly be reshuffling. When we get lots of glints, it's great. Alright, I don't particularly want to... I guess we try connecting with this guy. We can't afford to get a -1. Or... yeah, no, that's fine. We can afford to get a -1. Yeah, alright, so we'll spend 2 to try and connect with the Prowling Woolhund. And we flip a 0, so we're putting 2 progress on the Woolhund. Sunlight. Discard this. If there are no cards remaining, flip this card. So we now have a Gathering Storm. And we fatigue 1 more. I cannot play any of my cards because they're all manifestations. That is very, very bad. Before you play a moment, yeah. Alright. Maybe... we can scout a challenge card. If we flip that. So do we do a traverse test? Yeah, let's traverse on Greenbrier Knoll using Light as a Feather. We're going to take 2 more fatigue, but we flip. Okay, so we're traversing for 1, 2, 3, 4, and that puts 3 progress on the location. Thank goodness. We're going to get away. We suffered 2 fatigue because of this Prowling Woolhund. Oh no, if you have 3 or more fatigue, exhaust this being, suffer 1 injury. Yeah, well, there's not much we could have done there. We didn't have much of an option. 1, 2, 3. So that all turns into this. We suffer an injury. No. Which means that when we rest and leave, we're going to suffer an additional fatigue. Okay. Well, we did get a rewards card out of this first day, so I'm reasonably happy with that. We will travel. Old Bloody Clicker can get wrecked. We will travel. Oh, we get to scout a path card. We suffered 2 fatigue. That actually triggers first. So we're losing 2 more. Alright. So I'm going to tap this to bring one of these back into my hand. A manifestation. Yeah, I've got to get this Pars. Oh no, they're both gone. So this Pars we've run before is the linker with this Ironwool cap. You play this for 1 awareness, and you get to choose 4 moments in your discard pile and put them on top of your fatigue stack. And then you can bring them back with another thing. But okay, so I think we'll just bring Shape the Earth back into hand. We're travelling. If we go over here, we're going to travel up to Spire. And that's great. What else did we get in here? Caustic Mulcher. Get out of here. Oh, the Fundamentalist would have been nice. Distant Howls, Sunbury Bramble, Sitka Buck, and the Tenebrae. Why couldn't we have flipped any of those other than Old Bloody Clicker? Where's me Valley cards there? Alright, we need to get the Spire's Pivotal Location cards. Spire 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we need to have a second deck still? Isn't there like a city outside of Spire as well? I forget. We'll find out when we get here. And I'll draw one of these at random. which we don't want to read. Alright, so we're recovering this, we're getting this back, we're getting this back, we're getting this back, and we know that we're going to have a glint after our next test. So we've arrived at Spire. Now, we'll just grab the location, because I think that tells me the answer to my questions. Alright, Spire, we're going to read number 5. Number 5 is alive. Rising out of an island in the middle of the Silverfin, the first thing you spot is the landmark that gives the town its name, a massive grey spire. At the centre of an island towers over the cottages, workshops and trade halls that make up the rest of the town. As impressive as it is, you know that it is but a protrusion of the ancient archaeology that extends deep into the roots of the valley. The entrance to that archaeology lies beyond the archaeology threshold. Spire Fallen has not occurred, and let's hope it never does. So here is the archaeology threshold, and let's read Spire. Do not add the Spire set to the path deck. Shuffle it separately and set it face down next to the path deck. This is the Spire deck. Lead Ranger must draw 1 path card, and so this is just greens plus a moment. So let's hope for a friendly one. A Prowling Woolhund. He comes in within reach. If there is another predator in play... Damn, quiet, why aren't you a predator anymore? Comes in fatigued. Oh, he would have come in exhausted. Everything that I just did didn't matter. So I'm not going to take an injury. I'm going to take... I think I had... those like that. And I shouldn't have had 2 of those, because he came in exhausted last time because old bloody clicker was in play. Alright, helps to read your cards. Provide yourself some slack. Don't know, you haven't played in a while, mate. We travelled, so we draw a card. Sky Whip. Now, how can I get my fatigue back? Alright, so I know exactly... Actually, I'm going to flip this over because I know exactly what that card is. So if we do an awareness test, we are going to get a +1. So we can avoid that guy. Yep, and we need a 1 to avoid him. So I'm going to do an awareness check to avoid him. And we're going to place that on top of this deck. He's avoided. We're going to gain a glint. And we're going to finally shuffle these decks, and there's nothing else that triggers. We can do a fitness test to enter the bustling town of Spire and draw 1 card from the Spire deck. Excellent. Alright, so we have a glint, which is good. So we can do a Sky Whip. But no, we're going to do a fitness test. And we're going to discard Light as a Feather. And then we're going to do this and bring Light as a Feather back into our hand. And we'll spend 2 fitness. So can we enter the town of Spire? We in fact roll a 5. Oh, I needed to do this. Refresh, add 2 rain to this card. Move all prey to along the way. Then each ranger exhausts their roll. Oh no, that's what we do if we do that. Okay. So yeah, we are going to enter Spire's deck. We're going to flip this and try and find the archaeology threshold. Instead, we've found Elder Mora Orlin. When she comes into play, we flip 60. What are you doing, Elder Mora? Enters play. You hear the loud whistling long before you see the muscular form of Elder Orlin walking purposefully up the trail. She pushes an empty slab sled along ahead of her, and a heavy walking staff hangs loosely in one of her hands. Very good. Do we want to listen to the wisdom of the elders? Oh yeah, you can choose a starting moment from your collection and add it to your hand. Cool. Choose a being in play. So I can't use any of my cool... I could use my Sky Whip. And strike them down. Presence equal to the effort. I really wanted to save my spells for a bit. When you would draw one path card. Okay, we've got a plan here. We're going to use Light as a Feather. It is a manifestation, so we're spending our glint. Choose any number of path cards within reach. I'm going to choose this. And I'm also going to choose Elder Mora Orlin. It says shuffle them into the path deck and then draw one path card. When you can draw a path card, it says when you would draw one path card, if your thing is on this location and there are cards remaining, then you may draw from this instead. So we're going to do this, Todd and Lang, and then we'll do another one, the Carbon Forge. So many things happening now. So the Sky Whips worked well. Let's read some things, I guess. So Todd and Lang's Sculptor. Technically by the rules of what I just did there, I'm going to have to shuffle her into the path deck. That seems fun. Enters play. You step into the clearing that Tolan has utilised as his studio and you find the young sculptor surrounded by shimmering and shifting sculptures of kinetic glass. You look more closely and see that some of the sculptures are actually three-dimensional landscape portraits of the ancient Estian buildings scattered around the valley. Tolan Lang has bent over a thick dolewood bowl that he's turned into a work table. He seems to be messing around with the collection of flow steel plates arranged in a row. Clear him with progress to ask him what he's up to. Tolan, I would love to clear you with progress, my friend. I'm going to do that. I have no hearts to discard, so let's hope we flip a... Ah, it's a -1. We just put 1 on him. Wrong colour. 1. And we also have the Carbon Forge, which is 56. And we could read something about that as well. 56, the Carbon Forge. You hear the muted roar and smell the sharp tang of ozone as you can see the Carbon Forge itself. It has been over a century since Sal Orlin first discovered the forge in the archaeology ruins beneath Spire. Now it is working to reassemble simple graphite into carbon wonders. You watch as several artificers pull what looks to be a winch or crane out of the blue flames within. They're probably on their way to help Solara with his expedition down into the very ruins that once held this machine. Excellent. Okay, I am not interested in doing anything at the moment. Focus plus that fabricate. Yeah, you can get rid of gear and you can put it. Oh, maybe I'll get rid of Grell's map. I only really need one of them. That's fine. We'll stay where we are. So we'll rest. 1, 2, 3. Do I want to shelter? Actually, yep, I'll shelter, spending my focus to try and not fail here. I do fail. Fine, add 2 rain to this card. Move all prey, then each ranger exhausts their roll, flip this card. Back to Rainy. So when we rest, we bring this next one down. It's the Hearty Brew. It's the pub. I just want to get one more. I draw a card. Paths we've roamed before. Alright, we're cooking with gas now. So we're going to play Paths we've roamed before, spending 1 from our Ironwool cap to mean that we can play this for 1 awareness. Choose up to 4 moments or attributes from any ranger discard, place them on top of our thingy deck. So we're going to put 2 Eagle Eyes, we're going to put Light as a Feather, and we're going to put a Sky Whip. So they are on top of our fatigue stack. That gets discarded, as does that. And now we are going to do another connect test. 2 yellows. We get a +1 and we get a glint back. But we do have to fatigue. So we're down to 3. We fatigue. We are going to bring some cards back here, but we're clearing Tolan Lang, the sculptor. And hopefully he's going to give us some of our fatigue. Come on, Tolan 61. And I should also read the Hearty Brew while I'm here. Clearing with progress. Hello, Tolan jumps up, setting his tools down and grasping your hands warmly. It's so good to see you. I don't know what you've been up to recently, but I've been busy helping Elder Orlan and her artificers produce devices for Solaro's expedition. I can make maquettes, scale models, and then the artificers can turn them into pulleys, collapsible shelters, archaeological scaffolding, you name it. It's been an absolutely fantastic challenge. In any case, I hope you'll put my designs to good use down in the archaeology. I wish you all the best. Discard Tolan, search the spire deck for the archaeology threshold, and pull it into play. It was literally on the bottom of the deck, but we found the archaeology threshold. Well done, team. So 58 comes into play. If you're on the descent, we are on the descent. You've never seen the archaeology threshold bustling with so much activity in all of your life. Villagers of all ages come and go. Some carrying supplies and equipments for the expedition, others simply observing the spectacle. You can imagine that this is what it must have been like when Sal Orlan led his expedition into the archaeology over a century ago. A community gathered for a singular purpose, prepared to venture into the unknown, unsure of what they might find or what fate awaits them. Amid the throng, you spot a broad-shouldered man carrying a notation scroll, directing traffic and taking inventory of the supplies as they arrive. As you approach, he looks up from his work and smiles. Welcome, he says. I don't believe we've met. Algrim's the name. The elders put me in charge of gathering and organising the supplies for Solaro's expedition. A boy pushing a hover sled laden with carbon-forged crates passes you on your left, making for a cordoned-off section of the threshold. Algrim turns and calls after him. Not that way, Nodge. Your other left. That's it. Well done, boy. He turns back to you. Like my mother always said, once a shepherd, always a shepherd. Now what can I do for you? We clear the archaeology threshold. It's a spirit test. Of course, we don't have any spirit left over. So we are going to have to draw, I guess, Dace from this, because he's the only face-up one. Dace is here. He comes in over here. We've got all friends. What's happening at the Hearty Brew? All friends and quiets just follow me around like a little champion. So I can search the valley set for any card. I can brave the gloomy depths beneath spire to move our thing. Oh, while your thing is on this card, prevent all fatigue you would suffer from the weather. Yeah, we want that. And I'm not worried about Dace. I do like Dace. She was pretty great. She's the one who taught me how to fly. That's fun. Alright, so we're doing that. We're resting. We're drawing a card. Shape the earth. We're going to do a spirit test. Oh, I can actually exhaust my roll and draw a manifestation back into hand. We'll go for Throng of Life. I'm shuffling this deck. So we need to do a spirit test, brave the gloomy depths beneath spire. So that's great. We can use my Throng of Life here if we need to. So a spirit test along with this Shape the Earth discard will give us a total of 3, and we get a +1. No effects trigger. So we've braved the gloomy depths beneath spire. So we've cleared that. We're going to 58. Come on. 58. If you are on the descent, go to 58.2. Clear if you're on the descent, 58.4. You explain to Algrim, who is busy coordinating the expedition's supplies, that you've been sent by Elder Thrush to meet up with Solara Marco and the rest of the expedition. He nods. Most of the expeditionary team is still here in the threshold, as you can see, including yours truly. Solara left with an advance team not but 2 days past. He could barely contain his excitement when the elders approved his petition. He almost ran off without so much as a rope or a candle. He chuckles to himself. Come with me, he says. Al Grim leads you to an area deeper within the threshold, where suspended orbs of light are all that chase away the encroaching darkness. He looks up at you and down for a moment, opens a crate, and begins handing you supplies. You look to be well equipped, but traversing the arcology isn't the same as patrolling the valley. For one, it's almost entirely uncharted, so you need to be prepared for anything. Next, and most importantly, it can be darker than even a moonless night, so you'll need a light source. At that he pauses. I'll be planted. It looks as though the advance team took the last of the Lambance rigs. You'll need to get on whatever natural light there is for now. Well, I must return for my duties. Algrim says after he's certain you have everything else you need. Perhaps I'll see you down there. Good luck. You may immediately proceed to the travel phase and travel to the chimney. If you do, build the path using the Ancient Ruin set. If you choose to travel in this way, discard the current challenge card and do not resolve the remainder of this test. After travelling, add progress to the location equal to the number of rangers. We will definitely travel to the chimney. When we arrive at the chimney, we're going to read our mission, but let's do all of the things now. So this is exciting. We're going into our first one. What was it? Ancient Ruins? The Ancient Ruins terrain set. And does the chimney have, is it a pivotal location, the chimney? I wonder. Surely the chimney is a pivotal location. Let's have a look at our map, actually. We're not in that one. We're here. We're at the chimney. It is a pivotal location. Excellent. That's there we go, the chimney. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's the chimney. This is exciting. I'm at a brand new location. A brand new location. Alright, so we'll finish off this deck. So that's just all that plus this moment on the path. And then I also shuffled in Elder Morland. These all go away. They're back into the pivotal locations for the valley. And here is this. Along with these. So this is the first time this deck has been shuffled together. Yes. So smooth. After travelling, add 1 to the location equal to the number of rangers. So yeah, we need to go to the new location. All right. Thank you, Spire. You've been wonderful. So we're going to find the next location, which is called the chimney. There it is. Boom. Okay, the chimney. You travel to this location from Spire, search the path deck for the spiral stairway and put it into play. So this path deck should have the spiral staircase. It was on top. Wonderful. Then read the journal entry for that card. Okay, that's along the way. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is read our quest story, which is called The Descent. There it is. Arrive at the chimney 1101. And then we'll read 100 for the chimney. Missions. What? No. 101, 101. There we go. At the base of a massive cylinder of forged carbon, you see several lambent rigs illuminating the space in a wide ring. Within, there are the beginnings of a base camp. The advanced team moves about the space, taking stock, unpacking crates and setting up equipment, building temporary structures. Beyond, there is a vast darkness, sparkling with a strange kind of precipitation that illuminates the boundaries of the cavern as it falls. Shadows move and shift as the droplets pass. The effect is mesmerizing. Beautiful, isn't it? A confident voice cuts through the still air. You turn to see a tall, bearded man with impeccable posture walking towards you. We've been calling it glitter rain. Not sure what it is, but it sure is fascinating. I'm Harlan Voss, he says, extending his hand in greeting. You must be the additional Rangers Elder Thrush promised us. You introduce yourself and inquire to Solaro Marco's whereabouts. Solaro went on ahead some time, explains Harlan. He got so excited when he arrived that he just had to venture deeper. I've never been one to stand in the way of an explorer, so I didn't protest, but it's been at least a day since he left. Maybe I should have tried to convince him otherwise. You're about to respond when you feel a familiar tug on your backpack. Hi! You look down to see the cheerful face of Quizzy Voss looking up at you. Is she eating your trail mix? I'm glad you're here. That other ranger's not nearly as fun as you are. What was his name again, Dad? Cal Ivor, says Harlan. He arrived a few hours before you did. Said that we should expect you to be right behind him, as usual. He went on ahead, but he didn't seem too worried about Solaro. Can you keep an eye out for him? Solaro is supposed to be leading this expedition after all. He should probably be here. The Rangers choose. Gain the Search Below mission. Search the chimney set for Solaro Marco's spelunker and attack him face down to this mission card. Do we want to search below? Cross off 199.2 on the day tracker. Right, 199.3, 3 days from now on the day tracker. 1, 2, 3, yeah. So we want to turn that into 199.3. Cool, that's good. And we're going to find him. Is he in here, Solaro? There's Harlan. Good looking rooster. Okay, where was he again? Find search the chimney set for Solaro Marco's spelunker. Didn't we have the chimney set? Alright, let's look at path cards, pivotal locations in here. There's Quizzy. Yep, okay. He's from the chimney set, 5 of 5. And we're going to attach search below Solaro Marco mission. It's exciting. There it is, search below. Alright, we've found our mission. We've got to rescue the crazy adventurer Solaro. Debris tumbles down. Add 1 harm to a card within reach. That's bad. Alright, so you are searching for someone underground. Alright. I'll just show you this. That's our search below mission to find Solaro. We need to, when a feature comes into play, if your current location is in the arcology and is not the chimney, add 2 trail tokens to it. Excellent. Oof. So we're currently trying to find Solaro. We are still on the descent, however, and fortunately for us, we're going to be okay. The expedition's advance team has all but finished setting up on a large flat landing at the base of the chimney. It looks like a small village bustling with activity. Among the gathered crew, you spot the young rapscallion Quizzy Voss talking excitedly with her father, Harlan, and your old rival, Cal Ivor. Cal lies back on a hammock, suspended several feet above the ground by two Memlev devices, one at the head of the hammock and one at its foot. As you approach, he hops off with a grunt of effort and steps toward... No, I don't think we want that. That seems not the case. Oh, that's if you're running late, go to entry 110. Okay, great. So that's it. So we'll go read 100. Good old Cal Ivor, just kicking back on his hammock. What a dickhead. You find your way through the small, quiet passageways until they open into a walkway running to a towering spiral stairway that hangs in the middle of a wide vertical shaft. Solara's team has set up its equipment and bustles around to the floor of the chimney, analysing maps and preparing members of the expedition to head into the ruin. Excellent. So that is how we go up, is it? The spiral stairway. Is that what we want to do? Oh, we need to read that journal entry, 120, 121. There's a lot of reading. I forgot about that. Search the path deck for the next being and put it into play when that comes in. All right. We have a lost lutrinal. We've completed the descent mission, by the way, because we arrived at the chimney. We'll just go back to that. Well, we can't complete the descent mission because we haven't found and talked to Solaro. Okay, cool. Have 4 or more trail tokens on this mission. Ah, cool. Good, 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 good. So, alright, so we've got a lost latrinal. It's got ambush. I forget what ambush does. I think that fatigues us, doesn't it? I don't like that. Do you fatigue us, ambush? When a card with ambush enters play within reach, fatigue that ranger. I have very few cards left. Search the vaulted ways. Alright, so we need to leave the chimney and go see if we can find Solaro Marco. So I think we'll focus on doing that. We're just going to use Quiet to get rid of this lost latrinal. It's going to eat it. Num, 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 num. Good work, little Quiet. Unfortunately, he adds 1 harm to himself. He's now got 2 harm. I've got 1 glint. I've got full everything, so let's do a traverse test using Grell's secret map, 2 fitness. This only has 1 presence, so we shouldn't fail this, but let's use Seen Through Cycles as well. We succeed at our check, and we will exhaust our roll to bring that back into play. We will add 4 progress to the chimney. And do we want to do anything else? Yeah, let's remember our ranger training. Oh, we need to have different weather too. Goodness me, this is lots happening, but it's very exciting. Where's my weather cards for this? Locations, did I put it in there? No, weather, missions, it'll be under missions. The weather. So is it glitter rain? Let's check on our little thing over here, because I think it says it at the top. Downpour, enveloping silence. Shimmering runoff. There's enveloping silence. Wow, this is new. Let's look at it. Each ranger may discard 1 energy to stay quiet. Minimum 1. And flip this card. Ooh, interesting. Interesting. Okay, some new weather. That's fun. Goes with the missions. I'll leave the missions up there. Alright, I don't think I want to climb the spiral staircase because I think that takes us out, doesn't it? Let's have a look at the map. Over here. So I can go this way. Can go this way. I can go this way. I think there's a section that's, yeah, see this is blocked. That's a flooded passage. Overgrown passage and a locked passage. So yeah, in this new map, you can only go directions of the arrows. Locked paths. So you can't go that way, but you can go back up that way. Interesting. Locked. Alright, well I think I'd like to try this drenching chamber. Oh, actually no, let's go to Orland's Vault. That'll be where Solaro is for sure. Let's travel to Orland's Vault. So we're going to ditch all this stuff. It is a non-pivotal location. So we're not going to take that, we're not going to take that, not going to take that, but all of these are going to stay in play. And we are going to use path cards from the arcology. And in this instance, we draw 3 of these as well. Oh, look at all these things. Cool, man. And let's put a moment on the path in there as well, because we've got valley moments. 1, 2, 3. There's our path cards of the arcology. And where is my... underground moments? There we go. So they have an underground moments too. Little moments on the path. How nice. We're having a nice time wandering around underground, trying to find our friend Solaro. It'll be a mission if we can find him. Alright, so we're moving away from this location, the chimney. Geez, we've done some travelling in this first one, haven't we? Already. And we're going down to Orland's Vault. And that's not locked, so we're fine. The lead ranger is going to draw a path card. But we're going to do our arrival 112 first of all. Although the arcology's designers clearly had worked to blend form and function in their architecture, the hallways you find yourselves in have a markedly utilitarian cast. Rust-frozen grav lifters dangle from low ceilings, and your footsteps echo off the bare metal floor. In places, the walls have collapsed in piles of rubble, and in other chambers you catch the musty whiff of the strange fungi that infest these depths. Even so, you can tell there were once workshops and manufacturing centres. It seems that much of what was created down here was done through automation, in stark contrast of the residents of the valley today, who work by hand and rely only on their own craft. Among the detritus and debris, you catch a glint of metal and carbon-forged alloy beneath mounds of rock and mushrooms. Perhaps you might find something useful if you search here. If you travelled here from the branching artery, we did not. We travelled here from the chimney. As you explore your surroundings, you discover a massive sealed door. Try as you might, you're unable to open it. It's far too large to force open, and whatever mechanisms once moved it seemed to have grown inert. Search the general set for the locked passage and put it into play. What is happening? There's so many things happening. I'm looking for a locked passage in the general set, and I found it. There it is. It's great teamwork happening right now. There it is. There's our locked passage. Wow, you'll be able to travel from this location along routes locked by the thing icon. Cool. So Orland's Vault lets us go down to the branching artery. If we look at the map, yeah, so this will allow us to travel out here. Cool. So that is there. Can't harm it. Has no presence. And you can only add progress. Okay, well that's fine. That's along the way. Nothing for us to worry about. As you inspect the door further, you discover the critical component appears to be missing, a power source. You spend a few moments rummaging through your gear, but find nothing compatible with the Estian technology. If a replacement power source exists, you're certain you'll find it down here in the arcology, but where? The moment you have the thought, you spot something at the foot of the door covered in dust, a note scrawled in hasty script. I couldn't wait any longer. I'm going beyond the flooded passage, beneath the main artery, into the chamber where the Estians once slept. Don't worry, Holland, I can handle myself. Timo. You recall that Holland was the name of the leader of the lost expedition. Perhaps if you follow, you'll learn of the team's fate. Cool. Find where the Estians once slept. This is all happening. Alright, lead ranger, draw a path card. So that's us. What have we drawn? We've drawn overgrown vestiges. It is an obstacle, so we can't travel away from here. If this feature is illuminated, it loses obstacle and gains the following test. Huh. That's fun. Oh, we've actually got a reward card, don't we? No, because we need to get that from finishing that first test, that first thing. Okay, so I guess as a feature, we can traverse it, so we can't do that. We can use Touch of the Verdesser on it, which will allow us to place 1 harm on it as a flora. Let's play... No, we can't do that either. Alright, I guess we're just going to rest. There's no one to connect with. So rest, draw a card, recover, recover, and we'll draw a path card. And we've found flow steel controls. It's got 1 power on it. We need to... Powered. This feature gains illumination. It's all along the way. Everything's illuminated. Oh, hang on a second. I just remembered. Solaro Marco. When a feature comes into play, yes, add 2 trail markers onto it. All right, we'll make these trail markers 1, 2, and this trail markers 1, 2. When a card with trail tokens is cleared, move those tokens to this mission. Excellent. All right, so we need to clear them. But this has now been illuminated, so we can add a progress to it, but that's also going to remove that. All right, let's read 146. I am so excited, but I've got no idea what's happening. A strange circular pedestal rises up from the ground, and although the attached plates are as solid as the surrounding walls and bulkheads, something about it seems strangely amorphous. You study the wavy ripple patterns in the material and realise that this is definitely flow steel. You study it further and spot several bulges and depressions scattered across the surface at regular intervals. This looks like a control panel. Perhaps you can figure out how it works, and may give you some control over nearby arcology systems. That sounds interesting. Let's try and clear these overgrown vestiges first. So I'm going to use my iron wool cap to play Shape the Earth using this glint and 1 there. That's great. So that only costs us 1 fitness. It's a manifestation. We add 1 progress to each feature. Is that what that said? Each feature and location. Then you may redistribute any number of stuff to them as we see fit. So we can't do anything on that. So we're just going to put 3 on the overgrown vestiges, and that is all. And then we will bring that back into our hand, and then we're going to do a traverse by doing seen through cycles, touch of the Vedessa, and that on this here. We get a +1, we get a glint back. Oh, how good's this? Okay, so we're going to clear the overgrown vestiges. So we've cleared that with progress, which means we put the 2 progress onto our Find Solaro test. Second of all, we're going to do our glint. We're going to do sunlight over here. We don't have to do anything with that when we clear it. Excellent. So I'll shuffle this, and it's just this. Each ranger may discard 1 energy to stay quiet. If a ranger does not, add echoes to your effort and flip this card. We'll discard an awareness. Manipulate the liquid metal to add progress equal to your effort. So we'll discard a focus and that to manipulate the liquid metal. Oh, it's another glint and it's a +1. So we've added 3 progress to this. So yeah, that's 1, 2, 3. 3 progress. And we've done a sunlight, which means we're going to spend another awareness to avoid adding any echoes to that. Oh, this is exciting. Alright, I don't have any connecting I need to do. So yep, we're going to rest 1, a Sill sketchbook. We get all of our stuff back. Draw a path card. Humming circuits. It's another feature. It's here next to us. Powered. Add 1 to power to the machine. This is awesome. These things are all just turning on. Bzz, 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 bzz. That is so cool. All right, but we haven't flipped another one of those, so we can use our other moment again. All right, so when we rest, this guy comes back. We're going to play another moment, and we're going to clear this. Oh. None of these are 2 or more presents, though. Okay, so we're going to bring Touch of the Videssa back into hand. I'm going to use my Iron Wool Cap and a Glint and a Fitness to play Shape the Earth one more time. And that's going to allow us to put a Progress here, and a Progress here. And we will then redistribute it all onto the Flow Steel controls, which means we have 4 Progress on this mission. So we're going to go to 1102. When a card with trail tokens is cleared, move those tokens to this mission. Have 4 or more on this mission. When that sunlight thing happened, I would have had to move things around, but that's fine because I would have cleared that first. So yeah, we're still good. Oh, this is awesome. All right, so the flow steel controls are clearing, first of all, so we're going to read them at 146. After long minutes of touching, pushing, caressing, and eventually punching the various controls, you touch the right combination of buttons. The whole panel suddenly ripples, steel flowing and splashing like a vertical pool before a three-dimensional map of the nearby arcology corridors rise up out of the quicksilver substance. You touch more controls, zooming in on a specific part of the map. If you are at a water location, reroute the flow of water. If you're at a ruins location, open a nearby door. Wonder if that lets us put progress on a... place 5 on a feature. It says you can't use that, okay. If you're at a trail location, if you're at a cave location. Discard. Wow, this is crazy. So we're going to open a nearby door. We're going to discard flow steel controls. We're going to place 3 progress on the location, which means we've also completed the location so we can travel. So we're going to flip the humming circuits. Bzz, 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 bzz. It's been a good start so far. So then we are going to read 100, 102. Missions, 38 items. There's got to be a way to do this better. 1102. Nope. You walk right up to Solaro before he notices you. He is busy studying a wall covered in blocky Estian script, and by the looks of his half-filled notebook, he's been doing it for quite a while. Oh, hello there, he smiles. Is it time for dinner already? When you explain that he's missed dinner and perhaps some other meals besides, he shrugs. That explains why my belly has been rumbling, I suppose. There's just so much to discover down here. I could spend my entire life in these halls. You politely but persistently suggest that Solaro would be better off at the base camp, organising the operation, and that he can send others to scout in his stead. He keeps brushing off your suggestions until he stands up and almost falls over on his face. Oh, I guess I have missed a few too many meals. Very well. You win. Let's return to base camp. Lead the way. Yes. Attach the return to base camp card to Solaro Marco. Return to base camp. You must accompany your friend back to the base camp at the chimney. At the start of day, the attached being gains persistent. Discard all. And when we arrive at the chimney. Cool. Alright, well guess what? We can travel right now. We'll just do this to bring this back into play. We're going to do it with one hand, with one card left. How good's that? So return to base camp. There's 3 progress on this location. We're going to travel back to Chimney, and we'll arrive at the Chimney. And I'm gonna do the end of day stuff now. So, and then we'll rest. We'll rest, and that will be the end of the mission. We've made it at last. Thank you for finding me and bringing me back to camp safe and sound. I promise I won't go wandering off again. And now that we're all here, there's some work that needs to be doing. Come with me and I'll explain. shuffle Solaro into the path deck, complete the return to base camp mission, and write found Solaro on the thing, and then each ranger soothes 2 fatigue. That shouldn't matter too much to us because we are... Now there's my hawk. Cool. And go to 110A. We started reading this before. You're in good hands, Solaro. Elder Thrush has sent us the absolute best. Of course she did, says Solaro. All the elders know how important this expedition is. They'll also be happy to know that my theory was correct. New passages have opened up in the archaeology. The last time anyone was down here, there was only one passage leading from this chamber. Now there are many more. I'd be willing to bet there are even more beyond those. With hardly a pause, Solaro turns to you and says, what I need you to do is a bit of scouting. First, investigate the immediate vicinity, and then we'll see about venturing deeper. He rummages in a nearby crate and withdraws a handheld device. Take this Lambant's rig with you. Illumination is in short supply down here, and you don't want to go fumbling around in the dark. Not where you're going. He claps you on the back. Drink it in, my friend. Wherever you go, you could very well be the first human to set foot there in 1,000 years. Gain the Survey the Depths mission and the Lambant's rig reward card. Cool, I'm grabbing that out while I remember. Survey and Lambant's rig. I think that was green. There it is. 2 Lambant's rigs. Show those off actually. Choose a path card. That card gains illumination until the end of the turn. That's pretty useful. Takes up a slot though. Complete the descent mission. Gain the Survey the Depths mission. There it is. Alright. How are we going to survey the depths? Wrong button. There we go. When a feature comes into play, you may attach this mission to it. Have 3 surveys on this mission. If you travel, okay, so we have to look at one of those places, and we have to have 3 surveys on it. Cool. All right. That's our current mission. We need to survey the depths. And that, we're gonna end the day there, friends. So that's a cool way to start this mission. We are going to go over to this thing. We're going to end the day. Our location. I'm going to travel to show all locations. The chimney. And we are in Ancient Ruins camp. Travel and camp. So we finished day 1. Don't know what that's for. But yeah, we've picked up a Lambant's rig and some echoes of the Estians. I'll have a think about if I want to use those. And we're going to head off and start the next day tomorrow. So I hope you've enjoyed this first day of BigDenoPlays Legacy of the Ancestors, Earthborne Rangers, as voted on by people in the poll. Although when I looked a little bit earlier, Earthborne Rangers was actually overtaken by Senjutsu. So, yeah, very good. But no, I'm excited to be back playing this. I definitely appreciate the heck out of aspects of this game. I'm finding myself less enamored with reading lots and lots of cards these days, lots and lots of things. I really like to just play stuff, play fun things, make cool decisions, but there's a time and a place for everything. So I'm excited to be here at this time in this place. Let's keep that in there. Reading through some of this stuff because the story in this was quite good. So there's the chimney. We find ourselves in the chimney. I'll keep that locked passage there. Wow. Cool. All right. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll catch you on the next episode. BigDenoPlays.